guess it's kind of fitting that I would be the one to start between Don and I because, like I said, I have been here almost, well, it's probably 11 or 12 years almost since I've been here because he was only 2 or 3 and he's 14 now. Okay, he was 2. Connie is correcting me. And I wasn't a very nice person when I got here. Just ask Connie and Dwight, Stephen Rose, Debbie and Paul, Scott. Scott really didn't like me. He tried to hide it, but we're best buds now. It's funny. So I've been here for a really long time. Nobody here even knows EB's dad, Marvin, because he's been gone for such a long time. But I wasn't, like I said, I wasn't a very nice person back then, really, because I was very, very, very bitter, to say the least. And I'm a whole new person. And I mean,
Amen.
The biggest thing I can say is that when Marvin first drugged me here, and Connie prayed in this church, and it's the same way today. When Connie prays, it's like the presence of God goes whoosh, and he's here.
Yes.
And it's always like that. So if you come in here and Connie prays and you don't feel that whoosh, God's here, check your heart, okay? And of course, I was working at Coke for a long time, and then when I lost the job at Coke, I started working as a courier, and this is how I met Don. I was driving so many miles, I needed to have an oil change every 2 weeks. You know, every 3,000 miles, you're supposed to change the oil on your car. Every 2 weeks, I was in getting the oil changed in my car, and that's how I met him. That's why I said I needed to start, because that's how Don started coming here, because he started coming here the day we had the grand opening here. And I'll let you go from there.
Okay. And you know, Natalie'd bring a car, and every time she'd bring a car, she would ask people to go, what if they want to go to church. And I guess no one ever took her up. I really didn't pay that much attention to it, but until she asked me one day, and I was like, yeah, I'll go to church. And she got this weird look, and she's like, you sure you want to go? We're talking about church. And I'm like, yeah, I'll go to church. I was like, I want to check this out, you know. And because one thing I did notice was, one of the other guys was like, you know, well, why don't you, you know, and they kind of hung out and they were friends, and he's like, well, why don't you come and do this on Wednesday or whatever? Oh, I can't, I gotta go to church, you know. And I was like, you know, that's pretty cool. And so she was like, well, you want to go to church? I was like, yeah. And so we're pulling up. In fact, it was like even the Sunday she called, and I had a lot of stuff going on at that time. Lena's mother just died, and her and I weren't getting along towards the end at all anyways. And in fact, I was like, man, at that point I was like, geez, God, why'd you even have Lena come into the middle of that? But that's sort of a whole different story. But and so anyways, I was staying at can't even think of the name of it. The extended day place over on St. John's and Atlantic. Anyway, it was my home at the time because I was actually getting ready to go back to Montana and didn't really want to. I just didn't see any other choice. And somewhere along the way, I even asked Natalie. I was like, I want to ask her out. Oh no, I don't date. I don't like men. You know, whatever. I was like, oh, okay. So I was like, So then when she wanted to ask me to go to church, I was like, okay, this is kind of weird, but yeah, I'll go. And then, so she calls, and she's like, you know, on Sunday morning, she goes, you really going to go? And I'm like, yeah. I was like, I'm getting ready to go right now. And she said, okay, I'll be by in a little while and pick you up. And we're pulling in, and she's like, and she's nervous. I'm like, what are you so nervous about? She goes, well, I got to tell you, you know, she goes, I hope you like it because it's different. And I'm like, okay, I'm not sure what that's supposed to mean, but whatever. And we come in, and, you know, praise and worship was going on, and then it came to the sermon, and I was like, you know, I'd been avoiding church for quite a while because of all the hypocrisy in the regular church. They, you know, they're saying one thing, and then behind the scenes, all this other stuff going on. And it's like, you know, and I guess God gives me kind of the ability to kind of tell what's going on, but sometimes it's not so good. So anyways, yeah, and I've been here since.